Well, it looks every inch a major incident here at the scene this morning. There are hundreds of firefighters, 225 to be precise, according to the London Fire Brigade, and 40 fire engines have been dispatched here to Dagenham in East London. Now, just for a sense of scale, 40 fire engines was the number that was initially dispatched to the Grenfell Tower fire. Now, it looks as though, although it is early days, we are not talking about a tragedy, anything like on the scale of Grenfell. The London Ambulance Service have said that they treated 4 people at the scene, 2 of whom have been taken to hospital. But London Fire Brigade have said that a major search and rescue operation is still underway. They say a full evacuation of the building was completed, but it hasn't yet been completely confirmed by the emergency services that everybody got out. But look, one of the concerning things that is emerging, and you mentioned it there briefly in the introduction, is you might be able to see behind me as the building gently smoulders, much less dramatic than it was even an hour or 2 ago, that it's wrapped in scaffolding. And we understand that the reason that scaffolding is there is to replace dangerous cladding that was on the building. That, of course, goes back to the Grenfell tragedy when it became apparent that many buildings right across the country were wrapped in dangerous cladding. There have been movements from residents' associations right across the country to get that cladding removed. And finally, it looked as though the long battle for the residents in this building was being won as the cladding was being removed, and that's when the fire has broken out. Now, we should be clear, we don't yet know whether the cladding had anything to do with this fire, so we shouldn't jump to conclusions, but it will nonetheless be troubling. We've also spoken to one man who wasn't a resident of the building himself, but his daughter was in the building overnight at a sleepover and was evacuated in the early hours of the morning. Here's what he told us.
They started getting a smoke smell around 3 a.m. and they sensed that because of the noise there's a fire, and they had a 6-month baby as well. So managed to grab the baby and my daughter, and they managed to get out of the building. I think when they stepped out, the fire engine started coming to the building.
And Matthew, give us a sense of the atmosphere there now. We saw those images from overnight, that yellow flame licking up from the top of the building. But you mentioned now smouldering smoke behind you. What is the situation on the ground? What is the atmosphere? What is the mood that you're getting from firefighters and the emergency services?
Well, look, at least to my untrained eye, and you can take a look for yourself over my shoulder, it very much looks as though the fire is at least more under control than it was a couple of hours ago. As you mentioned, those dramatic pictures we saw in the early hours of the morning. That's not to say it's completely under control yet, but it definitely looks less dramatic. The atmosphere here amongst the emergency services is definitely one of slightly more relaxed, I would say, that, you know, people walking around with their fire gear off, certainly no one running about with breathing apparatus. Sometimes when you attend these things, there is very much a sense of a live and unfolding emergency. I don't get that impression at the moment. It looks a little bit more, and that would tally with the pictures we're seeing right over my shoulder, that there is a sense that this the immediate emergency has passed, but there is still concern amongst local residents. There are many people hanging about listening to me as I speak now. We still aren't clear exactly what went on. We don't know what caused it. We don't know, as I said at the beginning, whether everybody got out safely.